Right. And we'll start. Thanks again to the POWERTAK team to organize this event and to make this happen, to make this user group come together every once in a while. We really appreciate it. Again, thanks to the sponsors. And then to start, maybe I will say my name. I'm Joël Vangrunderbeeck. I work with Pneumatics. I'm going to give a small introduction about myself in the next slides. But first, I'm going to tell a bit about our company. So I work at Pneumatics, and we are part of a group. We are part of the Gumption group, which are the offices are located here, so we're not alone here in this big office. We're just a small part. In Gumption, together, we are with 580 people, and we have a good revenue. So we're a good company here, and then we are Pneumatics. We are a small part of the Gumption group. So Gumption, they all have the IT. They all have small IT companies, and Pneumatics is a part of that. We are founded in 2010, and since then we have grown a lot. We're now with 58 people. Average experience is 7.5 years within the consultants that we have. And we also have a good revenue. We do have 2 offices. One is located here. The other one is located in Kent. And we also have Pneumatics Luxembourg, which is obviously located in Luxembourg. We have somewhat of 70 active customers, so we're at a lot of companies. And these are the values that we try to do, or the things that we try to do. We work on information strategy. So we mainly focus on BI, but we also do some other stuff. We do the BI strategy. The main tools that we work with are SAP, but Microsoft as well. We're 50-50 right now, where we mainly focus on SAP. In the previous years, we're growing as a Microsoft company. We also do some Tableau, Click, and then SAS as well. We try to learn from the past, not only as a company, but also with our customers. And that's why we do analytics, but we also do planning, budgeting, forecasting, all those stuff. And here at Pneumatics, we're a wonderful company. Once a year, we go on a skiing trip, so we do have a lot of fun. You can see a picture that's from our last trip. So we're a mix of the juniors, also leaders and senior consultants, and we do like to meet every once in a while. So we're not really detached at another company. We normally have a session once a month where we meet each other and then we give an explanation or a presentation or something new in the business. So as I said, we do have a lot of fun here at Pneumatics. We do dinner and drinks every once in a while, normally every few months. We have our Gumption party, which is the headliner of the year. PowerPoint keeps on skipping. The Gumption party is the event of the year where we all come together with the whole of Gumption, so 580 people. Of course, we have our famous Christmas dinners, and then, of course, we do the skiing trip once a year. If anybody has some questions about Pneumatics, we're present here with a lot of people, so you can always come ask us if you want to. So for today's session, what I'm going to give, these were the mandatory slides I needed to do, so now it's my session. Today I'm going to talk about elevating data in Power BI with Power Apps. So why did I choose this session? It's because most of the time people know Power Apps and Power Automate, or they know Power BI, but it's not in a lot of cases it's used together. There is a good integration between Power BI and Power Apps. And there are a few ways to do it. I'm going to show one way of how you can work with Power Apps and Power BI together to have a good integration. Why will I do this? Because a lot of people want to enter data when they're inside of Power BI. Now, I don't know how many people here work with Power BI, I think lots. But that's not an easy case to do. So if you only work with Power BI, you're not going to be able to enter data or to adjust data right in your report. You need to have another tool. And Power Apps is the perfect example of which one you can use. Now, why have I done this? what have I done with this in the past? I had a big problem. There was a customer of us that wanted to adjust data in front of their products. So we build a report for our customer where they can see, okay, this product is it costs so much to make it, and you get so much revenue on it. But the customer wanted to walk inside of his warehouse and then see the products, and in front of the products, you wanted to change the price that it's listed. So that's why we built this application. Why did we choose for Power Apps? Because he didn't want to switch between applications while he was running through his big warehouse. He wanted to have it inside his Power BI report. There are other solutions you can do as well, with Power BI embedded and so on and so forth. But we choose to do it with Power Apps, mainly because they didn't want to invest in a new tool. And then if you say it's within the same suite, it's within the Power Platform, then they are on the boat. It's much easier than you need to say, okay, we need to build a custom application, we need new developers, it's going to cost a lot of money. This is really a solution that doesn't cost a lot of money, it's really easy to make, and you can start with it within 5 minutes if you want to. So this solution, what did I do? For the example also today, we worked on the Microsoft Dataverse. For the demo of today, I built a small table inside of the Dataverse, which is just a list of products with a list price, a color, a category, and so on. And I'm going to use direct query in Power BI to query the data. So I build a report on top of my Dataverse to show the data. Now, what else will I do is I will use Power Apps to use the data of Power BI, not the data that's inside of the Dataverse, just the data that's inside of Power BI, and then also push refreshes to Power BI itself. In Power BI, I'm going to use the visuals that are presented there to filter down my app as well, so it will really communicate very well. How does Power Apps communicate with my Dataverse? I'm also going to read data from my Dataverse, so not only for Power BI, but also from my Dataverse, and then I'm going to use that data to adjust and enter data. Is it okay for everybody? Everybody still following? Right. So that's why I built this solution. So for the first part, what I already did today was build a report in Power BI. I'm going to show you how you need to build a report in Power BI. That's not what this session is about. It's fairly easy. I have a direct query running from my Dataverse. That's a very important part. It's a direct query. And I build a data set and a report on top of that. So in Power BI, I've created my reports. I've created the data sets. I've created my reports. I published my reports to the Power BI service, so it's already in the service. I've put in my credentials for the Dataverse. Then what I'm now going to do is start from here. So this I already did, and I'm going to start my demo with this. So first I'm going to edit the report, and then I'm going to add the Power App visual to my reports. So in Power BI, we have a visual for Power Apps, and you can integrate that visual inside of your report so it will communicate with each other. What I'm going to do then is add data fields for my Power BI dataset to my visual, and then I'm going to build a new app on top of that dataset. So this is my Power BI report. I'm going to demo it live, so let's hope everything goes right. So if I go to Power BI, I've created a workspace inside of Power BI to build this demo. And I have a dataset running here, Power BI, Power EdX demo report, and I've created a report on top of it. So this is my report. It's a simple report. It's just the products that you see, and then you have the list price and the standard cost for to make the product. I've built a few visuals here where you can see the list price by the category, and then also the number of products by color. What we'll do now is we'll edit this report, and we're going to integrate our app inside of this report. So I'm going to click on Edit, and then here, now I can add my visuals. Is this clear for everybody? Right. So inside of the visualizations of Power BI, you have this Power Apps visual. It's been there since a long time. I think it's already a year or two that the Power Apps visual is in Power BI, and I can click on it and it will give me a visual. Now this visual doesn't do anything until I start putting data inside of it. Like everything in Power BI, you cannot just choose here, I want to choose an app. I first need to add data to my visual. So right here, I'm just going to add a few fields to my Power Up visual. First, of course, I'm going to put my product in there. So I have my product name. I'm also going to put my category in there and my subcategory. And then, for example, I will take my list price. So these are the first fields that I'm going to use inside of my Power Up. Now, if you saw it, once I've put some data inside of my visual, you can choose to either choose an app that you've already built inside of Power Apps, or you can create a new app. I'm going to click on Create New, and then here you will get to the Power Studio or the Power Up Studio where you can make your apps. Now this is going to make a small app for you, and it's also going to have one important thing. It loads, which is here very important. Power BI integration. This functionality only works if you start from Power BI, you create your app in Power BI, and you choose create new app. If you do that, then you will have this Power BI integration, which will allow us to build some or to use some functions, especially built in Power Apps with Power BI. So what I will do here is create a simple app. I'm going to create a new screen. So let's do a list. I'm going to use this list. And then if you see here in the first screen, you already have the list here, but it's not a very nice list. And in the properties, you can see what's in here. In items, you see Power BI integration.data. So this is the data set that Power Apps can work on. So this is only if you start from Power BI and create a new app in Power BI, and then go to the Power Studio. So right here, in my screen 2, I'm going to do the same thing. I go here. Just going to put this here. But everything will work here in the top, but it's just for the demo purposes. So right now, by just copying and pasting this, you can already see that I have an app with all my products in there. So what I can do is, if I select my browser gallery, I can go to properties, and here in fields, I can edit which fields I want to have. Let's first put it to another one. Subtitle body, and then right here, I can put in what I like. So my title, I would like to have my product in here. Here I'm going to put my category, and right here I'm going to subcategory, just like that. So right now we have this app in Power Apps built on top of our Power BI dataset. So this is very important. It's not built on top of the Dataverse. It's working on the data that's in Power BI. So that's also why I only have these fields right here. Those are the fields that I built here, or that I added here inside of my Power Apps data visual. So this was the first part. I'm now using data that's in Power BI, and I'm using that inside of my Power Apps. So this is what we've done. We've created a new screen. We've added a gallery. We connected with Power BI integration data. So that's just one line of code that you need to write in your items. You need to write Power BI integration.data, and then you will connect to that data. So now for the second part, what I want to do is enter and adjust data that's inside of my Power App. It's already a pretty app. Great what Power Apps can do. You just click on a few things and you already have a list. But right now it's just a list. That's also something that I can do in Power BI. That's not really that great. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to create a new screen, a form, where I can connect with my data from the Dataverse, so from my Dataverse table. And there I can use functions from Power BI, so the ones that are specially made in Power Apps, which is lookup, to look up my field that I'm selecting in Power Apps, and then I can navigate to that specific field. So if I go to App, because if I now click on that, it doesn't work. So right now I'm going to insert new screen, going to insert a form. And then right here I need to connect to data. So to connect to data, very easy. Just click connect data. And then you need to go to the data source. It's in my other environment, I think. It's this one. So this is my table that I've used to create my Power BI dataset. It's just a product table from AdventureWorks. I think we all know it. And then here you can edit your field. So right now I'm not longer working on the data that's inside of Power BI. But right now I'm working on the data that's from my Dataverse. So right here, if I edit my fields, I can add a few fields. For example, I want my category. We want the color, list price, the model, product, of course, standard costs, and subcategory. So I can add a bunch of fields here. These fields are not only the fields that I put in Power BI, but these are the fields that come from my Dataverse. So right now I do have this list that I can fill in. Now, what else do I need to do? Tree view, that's what I want. So right now, if I navigate from one screen to another, I want to see my data that's inside that specific record that I'm selecting. So how do I do that? I can use the lookup function for that specific product. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up my Dataverse table, and then my field is going to be the selected field for my gallery. So right here, my item, go double check. Lookup. So this is a specific function that you can use once you've connected to your Power BI integration dataset. So right here, I'm going to use my Dataverse table. So normally that's AdventureWorks products. And then I need to have my primary key because I'm going to filter it down. So here I'm going to use my products. And this will equal my browse gallery 1. Sorry. So by doing this, I will now be able to see which field I have selected inside of my browse gallery 1. So what I did right now, this piece of code, it's a low-code solution. I can use this arrow now to go to the next screen, and it will filter down the next screen, so my edit form. It will filter the table inside of my Dataverse with what's selected here in my gallery. This is another data, so it's not the same data. It's the data that comes from Power BI. I also need to do this. So right here, to do the navigation button, I need to select my parents and then I need to navigate to screen 2. Navigates screen 3. So right now I will be able to add my data. So right here, I can now choose one, and it will select that specific product. Here. So it does exactly what I need to do. Only this button also needs to work. Right here, I'm just going to navigate to screen 2. Voila. Just like that. So right here, I can now change my data. For example, this will be large. You can add it, and this already works. So now it's no longer here. So now my power up is done. I can already use this. What we will do is first save this, and then we can use it inside of Power BI. There's only one thing that we still need to do, and that's to have the full integration. I need to have some functionality to push back the refresh inside of Power BI. Because if I don't do this, my data will not change. It will only change when I refresh the data inside of Power BI. Now, I don't want to do this manually. I don't want to push other buttons. I just want to make it automatic. And then also, I want to have the functionality to filter down my data inside of Power BI, and then it also filters down inside of Power Apps. So what I will do is, in the submit form, I'm going to add a small piece of code. The submit form is already there, because you saw it, we can already submit what we've added. And then I'm going to add this one, Power BI integration.refresh, which is also a functionality that you get when you connect to Power, or you create your app starting from Power BI. So right here in my screen 3, in this one, submit form, edit form 1 is already here, and here I'm just going to add that piece of code, Power BI integration.refresh. So here, Power BI integration.refresh, that's the functionality that we get when we start with Power BI and then go to Power Apps. So right now, when I click on this one, it will filter down, or it will send a message to Power BI to refresh the data that's inside of Power BI. So what I can do now is save my app. I'm going to save this app as Power EdX Demo 3. It's already. I'm going to save it, which is very important. You first need to save your app. And then, if this stupid thing of Teams goes away, I can close my session. I think everybody needs to pay that. You can leave. And then you need to allow your connection. And if it loads, should load right here. This one. I need to delete my other one. I'm going to edit my Power App. Forgot to delete my previous screen. screen. Save. Just going to go with my other one that I've already built. So right here, I've already built my app. This is my V2 instead of my V3. So right here, I've already built this. And right now here in Power BI, you can see that we can use this app. So here I can now start changing my data. For example, if I want to have my cable lock and I want to change something here, I can add, or I can click this one, and here I can, for example, change my list price from 25 to 26. I can click on this button, the submit button, and then you can see, if it's not too fast, you can see that all my visuals are loading. So cable lock. In here somewhere. Let me change this one instead. Bike rack. So this one, all-purpose bike stand, I will change this one. So here from 159, I will change this list price to 160. Submit it. My visuals will load. And now I have a list price of 160. So right now we can adjust data on the spot inside of Power BI. So you need to imagine somebody that's walking inside a big warehouse with all the bikes. He's walking around, he's using his computer or even a tablet, and he's adjusting the price right in front of the products. So you can see the products and then you can say, no, we're not going to sell this bike for 159, we're going to sell it for 160. Yeah.
Do you refresh the entire underlying data model when you do this, or is it only the things you changed?
It's refreshing the whole data model, because this is a direct query. It's going to the Power BI integration called refresh functionality in Power Apps. It's going to refresh the visuals, and then in Power BI everything that is shown is going to refresh. So we will refresh everything that you show here. It's not necessarily the whole data set that you have. It's just what you are showing inside of the visuals. So all the DAX queries that are behind this visuals will run again. Right? So right now we have our app. What's also great about this is that you can filter in Power BI and your Power Up will also filter down. So for example, if I'm looking for clothing, I can click here on my clothing and you see now in Power Apps it's loading. My internet is also a bit slow. And now, because I filtered inside of my Power BI report, Power Apps is also going to filter down. Now, this is because I use the Power BI integration inside of Power Apps. So right here, you can now see in Power Apps that I only have everything that is linked to clothing category. All right. Does anybody have questions now? And let's go back to the PowerPoint for a minute. I'm very bad at these PowerPoint things. I always just skip them and go to the demo. So we've done this. We've also done that. There's one thing. If you want to add new fields inside of Power Apps, that is not easy. You need to do a few steps before you can add something. You saw in the beginning that I've put some fields inside of my visual. And if you want to add more fields to that visual, you can do that in Power BI, but then not necessarily it will happen in Power Apps. So what you need to do is you need to edit your report. I'm just first going to save this one.
just to be sure, going outside of the. Now it's here. So right now, here I have my power up. I want to add some fields right here. So what I can do is click on edit. And then fairly easy, I can add some fields here. So in this step, I've already added a few. For example, I want to have my standard cost inside of my power up. So I want to edit my standard cost, or I want to see that in my first screen inside of Power Apps. Remember, this first screen in Power Apps is working on the Power BI data set, so it's not linked to my data first. So I'm going to add it here. Just like that. You can see that the visual is loading. Right now I'm going to save my Power BI file. Going out of it again, you can also just click on refresh. This is faster. Then we edit again. And then right here, if you want to edit your app, you need to click on the ellipsis and then click on edit. This will create a session in Power Apps for you to adjust your app. It's doing very smart things. Sorry, we need to wait a bit. So right here now I can add my fields. So in my screen 2 right here, which is this one in my browse gallery, here in my edit fields, so the fields that I'm showing right here, I can now choose other things that are here. For example, if I want to, instead of my color, I want to have my list price, I can add it here. It was standard cost, I think, that I've added. So I can add my standard cost, and it will now appear. If we did it without doing those particular steps, so without going into edit, add a field to your visual, save it again edit, and then edit your power up, it will not show up here. So that's a stupid thing, I think, from Microsoft that they still need to fix. But it's right here. So right now, to publish this app, or to get it inside of Power BI, you need to go here, you need to click on save, then it's published, then you need to close the session. Back. Now here we need to save. And open the report again. And it's not there. So you can see it's not easy to add these fields inside of your app.
Joel, but I also didn't publish it, didn't really publish, so I didn't publish it. No, we didn't. I think that is the cause.
Not worry about it. Let's do it, please.
Only 2 things that were wrong, really good, so it's still okay. So right here, that's okay. Only now it should be published. As it does during demos, it does not always work. I'm pretty sure I messed something up. But normally, if you do these steps, they're inside of the PowerPoint. You will get it. There are the steps in order. If you do that, then you will have these new things here that you've put inside of your Power App. Bummer. It's still not there. So that's everything you need to do to create the integration between Power Apps and Power BI.
So to recap the pros and the cons, the good is that it's fast and easy to develop. So we've done 20 minutes right now, and we've already created an app where we can adjust data. Of course, in a real life situation, it takes more time. It doesn't take 20 minutes, otherwise we wouldn't make any money. But it's fairly easy to develop. You have live interaction between your two tools without need to leave one or the other tool. So you don't need to jump from Power BI to Power Apps and then go back to your Power BI to see if your data is loaded, then go back to your Power Apps to see that you did something wrong. You can just stay in the same environment, and while clicking on the Enter Data button, you will see live interaction, and you can see if what you've entered is right or wrong. This also gives you the ability to adjust that data, which is not easy, or what customers ask a lot of, what customer asks a lot. And it's also a very low cost. So these Power Apps are not expensive to make or have a subscription to. It's very low cost. Then the bad, this only works for direct queries or live data sets. You can build it with just a normal data set, which you can refresh 8 or 48 times a day with Pro or Premium inside of Power BI. But best is that you do it with direct query or a live data set. Otherwise, you need to build something inside of Power Automate, which I'm sure everybody here knows. But it's not going to be live on the spot. And then the ugly, there's no way to have that Power BI integration, so really working on the data set of Power BI in an existing app. So you need to start from Power BI, create a new app to have that integration. I'm sure Microsoft will release that in the future, but it's not right now. So it's not what I found in the documentation of Microsoft. So it does not exist right now to add that in an app that's already existing. This is most of the time the case that you already have an app and that you want to integrate it inside of Power BI. Then you can work with 8 refreshes or 48 refreshes a day and work with Power Automate. And then also, very ugly, what we all saw live, is that it's not easy to add data fields to your app to the first screen. You need to do particular steps, and it doesn't always work currently. So to have a small recap, always start from your Power BI report if you want to have the integration. Think about the fields that you need at the front, so you don't need to adjust those fields. You only need basic knowledge of Power Apps. I'm not a Power App developer, I'm a Power BI developer, and I was able to do this with not a lot of documentation needed. It's a no-code solution. I think we've written, 5 small lines, not even. And it only works on direct queries for live data sets.